What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with a quick announcement here in regards to recent blog posts right now for the month of July, announcing big improvements and updates, especially for our quality of life. So we're going to be deep diving that today, as this was just recently released, but this is in really a follow-up to all the feedback that the Marvel Strike Force community and Player Voice Council has vocalized for the last couple months. So big shout out to them. These changes hopefully are going to be translating to obviously the feedback and concerns raised by us. So let's get right into it, guys. Skipping the first intro here, really just going to be diving down into each of the main topics, and then that way hopefully these will be translated changes that are coming sooner rather than later. So first and foremost, slower character releases and more rework. So it sounds like for new characters, where they're going to be ensuring a longer window between releases moving forward, also targeting about 3 new characters per month, which is going back to their historical average. And recently they've been doing 4 per month, so it's just going to be down from 1. So keep that in mind. It's not that big of a change, but it is going to lighten up the load and pressure on us having to continually farm and bring up character shards. And obviously with newer characters means more pronounced events, which is probably going to help out both sides, right? Less obviously pressure for us, but as well less pressure on them making constantly new events and essentially confusing a lot of the people sometimes do the milestones. But another key point here, for character reworks, the team has shifted gear towards focusing more on updating older characters and respecting long-term investments. This is going to take some time to manifest, as the character development pipeline is typically set in motion about 6 to 8 months in advance, and then we will call out in weekly blocks when reworks can be expected. So I think this is big because a lot of characters in the game have fallen out of the meta, and as we recently saw with the Gamma team reworking Hulk, we saw the value in that. We saw how Rebirth reworked all of the Captain America, Captain Carter, giving them some much needed love as well, Winter Soldier. So this has reinvigorated a lot of the previous past investments, and I think that adds a lot of value. And more recently, we saw with Black Widow's rework as well for the Infestation team. Another key point here too, more gold. So this is a really, really big concern, because I know previously we've always said that the inflationary environment of the game has gotten to a point where we're not really getting a lot of gold for each of the gold orbs that we have now. So by adding that infusion, it's going to scale better. Also, one of the big updates here is going to be a revamping of the strike pass. So hopefully there's going to be some more meaningful amounts. But as we saw, if you're raising the gear tier levels and overall player levels, character levels, we got to see that correlation come with the way of gold, right? We have noticed it in the war rewards, but for sure this is just a start. For more gold availability, this is going to help translate for us really progressing in the game and bringing up characters that we can at a pretty good pace, in conjunction with obviously the character releases. So I think this goes hand in hand. If you're going to be releasing more gold, I think it makes more sense to also have training materials, because gold is not the only constraint. We have to think about gear requirements, uniques, training materials, T4s. So hopefully they're thinking more big picture, and it's not just the gold component, gear matters as well. Player agency and theory crafting. So player agency is essentially the autonomy that we have as a player, that we feel like we have control over what we want to build. So this is really big, because we saw this in the previous letter announced, but as well, theory crafting has always been the intricate and fun part of the game, where we can create some synergistic combinations that maybe have never been seen, but depending on the kits and the synergies, they really turn out to be a great team, even if it's not intended. So I think that's a huge component of the game, and that's been taken away when they added Cosmic Crucible here, right? So as you can see, Cosmic Crucible was definitely a fan favorite game mode, and because of them specifically requiring this team and these traits here that get these benefits, it's pretty much pigeonhole what we can do. But thankfully, sounds like they've listened, and it sounds like there's gonna be some significant changes coming to season 4. So definitely excited, looking forward to that, because we know by now half of the rooms are set as certain team synergies right now, and it just becomes a very mundane and repetitive game mode that really adds no value. The only exception is obviously going for the rewards, but that's it. So hopefully see some big changes there. It's going to add some exciting environment and component to it. So definitely big. I'm glad they were able to hear that from our feedback. So this is also touched on before as well, guys. So I've vocalized this before as well. If you're gonna eliminate the hoarding aspect from the inbox, it really does make sense to think about the orb aspect as well, because I also don't like holding on to, you know, 200 plus gold orbs, and it's not good for the game, but as well it's not good for player autonomy as well. So it says here, we're doing our part in reducing the need for hoarding by removing certain event types. We changed the July schedule to ensure no events reward opening gold orbs or training orbs. They're also discussing the frequency in which we'll utilize leaderboard events. 1 leaderboard is planned for the July month-long meta milestone. This is in contrast to 7. This is a huge, big step, guys. So I feel like the leaderboard does add a lot of inherent pressure too. And, you know, ultimately that could translate to, you know, whales, dolphins spending just to be on top. But I mean, I think by taking that away, it's going to also allow them to have more capacity and resources to really focus on, you know, fixing bugs, errors that come about. Now, something to keep in mind too, they said that they've changed the July schedule. I hope going forward this is something that may be more permanent, or are they just using this as a band-aid to kind of appease us? That's the only concern I have there. So hopefully they're using the month of July to really reflect and take a look at what they can revise, because at the end of the day, I also understand orb hoarding is a pretty difficult component to eliminate, but if you're reworking all the events, it may not be needed, right? And that's really the goal, right? So we only hoarded event orbs and materials because we needed to in order to get ahead on the events. And if that's eliminated, it just creates more equity and as well less pressure. I've already appreciated how we haven't needed to hoard any of the inbox now. It's just automatic, which is nice. You just don't have to think about it and track it. Player council has been formed. So representing a variety of voices in the community. The initial meetings were very insightful, which we saw. It's pivotal. I'm glad that we now have a channel for communication, and especially it sounds like they're really trying to make the game the best way possible by listening to our feedback and as well thinking about the long-term changes, right? So I think given the recent announcements, given these steadfast changes in a short amount of time, they've taken the group very, very seriously, and I really appreciate that. I think that's more than what has been historically done from just vocalization conducted from the envoys. So I think it's definitely a big first step. But like I said, these are all improvements and updates that we've expected for a long time, and we're finally getting some feedback. You know, this is by no means an end. Like, this is just the initial first steps. I hope that these are steps in the right direction and not later backstepping or backpedaling later on. But for sure, got to give credit where credit's due. The game seems like it's heading now towards the right direction. Sentiment's coming back. Now it's about quality of life. Possibly, you know, obviously reducing screen time. We're not in an environment where we're playing the game like the way we were during the pandemic, working from home and so forth. We need to be more mindful of that. The game is still quite a bit of screen time involvement. That's something I'm looking for improvements in, especially when we see the turnover coming from Alliance. Hopefully they're listening to that as well. But yeah, a big update, guys. Hopefully these translate to big changes. Let me know what you think in the comments below, if you guys think they're full of it or if these changes are going to be better. But I think this is definitely the right step in the right direction. Thank you as always. Do appreciate you guys checking my videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.